5 money-making mistakes you're making right now. It's so common to see people living outside their means in 2022, not understanding debt, how to read debt, how to utilize debt, leverage their debt, and have good and bad debt. They don't understand how to budget and just make good money decisions, making mistakes left and right. The good news is I too once made these mistakes and learned the hard way. And I'm here to help you understand how to move past a lot of these common money-making mistakes so you understand how to get ahead. So with that said, let's get into the show. What's up, guys? My name is Chris with Warrior Consulting, and I work with entrepreneurs nationally and internationally to start, build, grow, and scale their business to the multi-million-dollar mark and beyond. And guess what? Today, I want to show you guys some love, specifically to those of you that love my content. And for anybody that loves my content and wants a free guide on how to scale as an entrepreneur, all you have to do is drop the word entrepreneur below, and I'm going to give you a free copy of my guide and video, Scaling Entrepreneur. I'm estimating around $10,000 worth of video and content I'm giving away this year, specifically just to you guys that like my content and comment with entrepreneur below to hook you guys up so you guys are winning too. So if you want this guide, drop entrepreneur below. I'm going to take care of the rest and hook you guys up. And with that said, let's get into the show. All right, so today's going to be a show on a bit of humility, right? Because if I had watched this show 10 years ago, I would have needed humility. And it's very important to understand that we all make mistakes with money regardless of what level we're at. Today, we're going to talk about some very basic things that, and when I say basic, I mean basic for everyone, but is dependent on the trajectory of where you're going. It could be high level, it could be basic, it could be somewhere in between, but these are some foundational money-making mistakes, right? And the first piece that we're going to talk about, number one, is when you make money, a lot of people live outside their means. The quickest answer to this question is to live by a budget, okay? So for instance, let's say you're making $200,000 a year. Okay, you're doing pretty good. You're making a little bit of money, but you're spending $190,000 a year. All right, you're living very close to your means. You're living just under your means. But in the case of living beyond your means, let's say you're making $200,000 a year, but you're spending $240,000 a year because you're living off credit cards and HELOCs and loans and so on and so forth. That would be living beyond your means. Most people don't even realize that they're living beyond their means. They're just living paycheck to paycheck and waiting for their paycheck to come in and know they have to pay their bills and they have to pay their credit cards and they have to pay all this and that and everything else. The quickest way to understand if you're living within, beyond, or below your means is to have a budget and stick to it. I've had a budget for years. I help clients build budgets for themselves, for their businesses. Shoot, we've shot shows on how to do this and continue to teach on how to do this. And this is the first piece of the pie when it comes to making money mistakes and how to be proactive about it, which is living within a budget and not beyond your means. Number two, if you have a plentiful business, you have money, okay? You're not living payment to payment. If you're a good employee, guys, and this is humble pie, all right? If you're a good employee, if you're really good, you're likely not living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, there's always going to be exceptions to everything. Always going to be exceptions. But If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're making a huge mistake. You're likely spending too much. You might be living in an apartment too expensive. You might be driving a car too expensive. And I don't even like that word expensive, but in this case, forecasting the mistakes, you very well might be. And in this case, you might need to really assess if you're living beyond your means or not because you're living paycheck to paycheck. All right, number 3, not leveraging your debt, understanding good debt versus bad debt. And this is a very complicated topic because a lot of people teach it. And I'm just going to teach you the basics of it. And there are people that are, in my opinion, ding-dongs like Dave Ramsey, okay? Specifically, I'm going to use him because he teaches a very scarcity, very middle class, very no debt model. Now, Dave Ramsey has a lot more money than I do, a lot more. There's no comparison. But the way that he's accrued that money is teaching you that debt is bad, and debt is not bad, okay? Dave Ramsey is not a billionaire. However, the billionaires that I learn from, the billionaires that I study, all have debt and they all leverage their debt. The key is understanding what debt is good versus what debt is bad. For instance, bad debt, credit card debt, good debt, investment property debt, okay? There's a huge difference. Investment property debt, you're building equity, you're building wealth, and you're building cash flow. And it's building off of the debt. Credit card debt, terrible, high interest, compounding daily, typically, debt. Understanding that a huge money mistake is not leveraging debt. Or said in a different way, understanding that if you're not leveraging your debt, you're making a mistake. Number 4, not investing the majority of your revenue or income. I know that sounds ridiculous, right? But it's not. When you get to the point that you invest your money primarily, you're not making mistakes. If you're making a mistake, you're not investing your money, meaning you're making a mistake if you're not investing your money, even if it's $20 a week or $20 a month. You're investing money into your future. You're putting it into a market. You're putting it into maybe a Roth. You're putting it into an IUL. You're putting it into crypto, the stock market. You're putting it into an index fund. You're putting it into something, your business, your children, your savings account. I wouldn't consider a savings account unless it's a high yield savings account, which there are high yield savings accounts like an IUL, which fundamentally is a very complicated topic, but let's not go there. Let's stay on track that when it comes to investing, it is a mistake if you are not doing it with the majority of your money, specifically if you're trying to think long-term, if you're trying to build wealth, and you're trying to get ahead in life. If you're cool just living paycheck to paycheck and not understanding debt and like being content with just having enough money to get by, that's fine, but I'm not talking to that person, all right? I'm happy for you. Like if that's what you're happy with, like cool. That's not what I'm happy with, and that's not what I teach. Number 5, working on your money mindset and understanding how the rich look at money. Just like I said a little ways back in the show, okay? Dave Ramsey versus billionaires, okay? The point is, where are you learning money from? Are you learning money from your middle-class parents? Are you learning money from your poor friends? Are you learning money from your poor family? Middle class and poor, I grew up middle class and was poor, don't understand money. They think it's like this thing that only the special people have. And a lot of middle class say tax the rich. That's fine. But what I'm saying is the rich, the reason why they're rich is typically because they understand money. And understanding money is a piece to having a good money mindset. We've talked about this topic extensively during the show. So if you're interested in money mindset in depth, browse the show, check it out. pull up the episodes, listen to them, and if you have questions, reach out to me or drop comments depending on where you're listening, and I'll answer them. But you're making a huge mistake if you're not focusing on your money mindset and learning from how the rich look at money. All right, guys, if you got any questions, drop a comment below. I encourage the questions. I want to talk to you. I want to answer your questions and comments. So please drop questions. I'm just kidding, guys. I appreciate you all that are dropping questions. I mean, I'm not really kidding when it comes to the whole situation, but I'm not begging. I just want you guys to know I appreciate you, specifically everyone that loves the content, likes the content, subscribes to the content, and drops comments with questions. I'll catch you guys next time.